So YouTube, basically, this is what I want to say, okay? People are always talking about how men are misogynistic and sexist and all these things, but when we look at the real facts of the story, look at all the women who have been accused of having sex with 14-year-old boys, and then you look at guys like Nasser, who done that to all them women, but you notice that he was like one guy versus like 100 women. Do you know how many women there were that was sleeping with 12-year-old and 14-year-old students, and the women were like 20-some years old? And I mean, I don't think that's healthy. What type of mindset do you have? And women actually have a choice on who they can sleep with, as far as if they want somebody who's older than them, they want to sleep with a woman, they have more choices. A man, he doesn't really have those choices. He has to pay. You know what I'm saying? A woman has it free. They can just pick and choose who they want to sleep with. And these women were good looking women that were usually in good shape. And that's why it's crazy that they were sleeping with 14-year-old boys when they could have picked anybody who they wanted to. And these dudes who usually do that, they're usually not attractive, you know what I'm saying? They will have to pay a woman, and a woman still wouldn't want to do it. So I think there's something really depraved, and then people turn around and defend the women for doing it, and it's retarded. Because, women stand a chance of getting rejected, and it's like a 30% chance. That's really not that high. But a man had like a 95% chance of rejection. So the chances of the woman getting rejected is like less than a third of what the man has, like, for real. And it's crazy how people try to rationalize everything a woman does just because they're a woman. But if a man does that shit, they're like, throw him in jail for 175 years or something that's crazy. And Nasser, he's probably only gonna live to be like, he's probably in jail. He's probably only gonna live 15 to 20 more years. Realistically, he's not gonna live more than 20 years in there. He's probably gonna die like 68. He's already like 54. So they gave him 175 years just to appease the women or whatever, and they could have gave him time. They could have just gave him a life sentence in there, He would live to be 90 years old. Well, he was in there for life, but they gave him 175 years just to make a point, and he's already 54. The chances of him living to be 200 years old is like zero. The chance of him living to be 100 is like 1%. In jail is less than 1%. The chances of him even living to be 80 years old during a situation where he's set up, it's like 20% because he's in jail. They don't have health care. Chance of him living to be under 70 is like 50%. He might commit suicide in there. He might get killed or whatever. So with that being said, I think that this society is really not equal, and people talk about equality, but is this really equality what we're living in? If you're a man and you think this shit is equal, well, something's wrong with you. You might have been dropped on the head too many times as a baby. But it's really not equal, and it's not in your favor. If you support something that's to your own detriment, well, you're just not the smartest guy on the earth. But yeah, I have to personally insult any man who thinks that it's equal, because the chances are, if you're a man, if you don't start settling in the dating realm, you could die and never you could be die virgin, It doesn't matter if you live to be 40 or 50 years old or 60 years old, you could die a virgin. A lot of people lost their virginity to some girl who slept with everybody in the neighborhood, or to a prostitute. That's usually the way most people lose their virginity to whores and prostitutes. And that's really just most. I'd probably say 80% of men lose their virginity to somebody who's a whore or prostitute, and 20% may lose theirs to somebody who they were actually in a relationship. So with that being said, man, it's just with those facts being said, it was never in your favor as a man to be in a monogamous relationship. And that's why when you see the women actually lie to the men. They actually rip him off too. He might rip them off, but the women usually rip the man off too in the movies, because in real life that's actually how it goes. Men have to take a lot of L's just to even be in the dating game. And that's why when people quit, it's because it's just not worth it. You know what I'm saying?